Okay, I was approached by a city recently, a small city, actually the town that I grew up in my home state, and they're going to put in some pretty extensive gardens, and this is the preliminary plan, but they approached me and asked, hey, can you give me some ideas on, how we can make this look great, different plant varieties. And if you take a look here, this is what I've kind of already started to work on. And what I've done, rather than having a bed just kind of right in the center, following the exact pattern of where the sidewalks will be, I've kind of changed it. If you look here, this is where the riprap or rock is going to be, and it kind of curves out here. You can see here too, I changed it and I swaled it out this way, this end being just a little bit longer, a little bit shorter here, and all these circles are signifying riprap or large rock. And some of these boulders, my vision would be in the center, the larger ones, they might be 3 to 4 foot boulders. But before that rock goes in place, large tandems of soil, like 15 to 16 cubic yards, will be dumped in this area. And then that soil gets pushed around. And so you've got an elevation point in the middle, maybe 3 to 4 feet. Bring in that boulder, and a lot of them might be partially buried, where you would put the lower 12 inches so it looks like they're kind of cascading out of the ground. But you can see here how we can just kind of work with it, and it never will come out to exactly how it looks on paper, depending on the rock that you've got in those type of situations. This signifies turf. I think since in the upper Midwest, northern Great Plains, turf grass is just a very common thing. It's very pleasant. It allows a person to walk closer in to what you're going to be viewing. So you've got turf next to the sidewalk. You can see how a narrow pattern here, and then it gets longer, a couple benches, and this would be a good viewing area. Same thing over here. You've got the rock actually coming right up to the sidewalk, which I think is a nice touch to do that. Here again, we've got turf. And then I would actually leave a large specimen boulder, maybe something 4 to 5 feet if we have the machinery to move it in. And it just kind of really, it's a statement. Instead of having the rock contained all together, all of a sudden you put one out here in the middle of the turf. And it's kind of a unique look. And so some of the plants on this first one that I've picked out so far, anyway, is imagine this center area is ridged up at least 3 to 4 feet, maybe going up and down and then swaling off here. Same thing here. Probably swaling off into basically ground level here. But up in here, I've got Kentucky coffee tree. That's a nice large tree. Eventually, 60 years down the road, but a beautiful tree that would cascade over most of this area. I like using pyramidal plants not only solo, but in a group. And so in here, I've got DeGroote Spire arborvitae. And likely what would happen here is as that high pitched soil comes down, we'd be able to get different arborvitaes on different elevations. And that's actually a great look too, because if you're viewing it from back over here or in a distance, you can kind of see a different height range. Royal frost birch, beautiful. Purple leaf birch with excellent fall color. That would kind of cascade or not only over into mulch, which I haven't mentioned yet, but there'll be some mulch beds in here too. This entire area through here would likely be mulch. We would also mix in some different little pockets of boulders throughout here. Dwarf Korean lilac trees on standard. That'll give us kind of a Japanese garden look, which I didn't mention, by the way. This whole theme is going to be kind of tailored off a Japanese garden look. And unfortunately, since this is kind of zone 3, zone 4, there's a lot of plants we can't grow that are common in Japanese gardens, like the different maples that are really cool, a lot of the different conifers, but we'll try to duplicate some of the look and do the best we can with the zone that we live in. Okay, over here I've got Prairie Statesman, Swiss stone pine. That's a columnar conifer. We'll match another one over here. Again, they probably would end up on different elevations, one being a couple feet higher than the other one. Prairie Torch, hybrid buckeye. That's kind of got a oriental, Japanese type feel, and it gets just excellent branching habit, kind of a bonsai type feel with a dark, dark red fall color. And that'll be the other goal in here. A lot of spring color, summer color, and fall color. And a Medora juniper here, another one that I picked out. I also want you to take a look at how I changed the boulevard. So there's a road here And as you drive along at first, I'm nothing against what they had put down, but maybe I think different, or I can sometimes visualize what I think would look really cool. But rather than just having a tree every, whatever, 10 or 15 feet all the way down, here again, riprap. And we're going to exaggerate it big time. We can put large 3 to 4 foot boulders where these larger circles are, and then crescendo that smaller boulder down. Here again, this is going to be raised. It might be that these large boulders are going to be up around 3 to 4 feet, and then these large ones are down a couple feet. But what'll look cool in here, and a little bit different than your average boulevard look, tiger eyes sumac up in here. That'll do a little bit of spreading in here and come up in different places. Flowering crab apple. So instead of having flowering crab, we've got a flowering crab. We do a couple here. Here we're going to introduce a completely different tree, a Northern Empress Japanese elm, introduced out of North Dakota State University. Just an excellent small tree with beautiful, beautiful fall color. So you see, we're just kind of mixing it up a little bit so it's not the same. Not only will we get a different flavor of plant material, we're going to get different heights and elevation changes through here. Taylor juniper, that's a really, really nice slender juniper for our area. Only gets a couple feet wide, but can reach 40 to 50 feet tall. And that'll just make a dramatic statement along the sidewalk and the road. Something completely different. And then tiger eyes sumac again. So we've got a little bit of a theme going with the color here. And a large boulder group, a little bit smaller boulder group, and then a pretty large one right on the edge. That's something I like to do too. I don't like to have, things in too symmetrical. So I've exaggerated the boulders on the very edge, which right to the entrance it looks like here will be a really, really cool look, having that higher points. We can do some draping junipers like the Prince of Wales juniper. They had in here a couple forsythias, good choice, bright spring colors. So that's kind of where I started here. To help me visualize and come up with ideas and plants for a project like this, I usually scroll through my photo libraries. But in the age of the internet, there's certainly no shortage of sites that can also help get those ideas flowing, like Pinterest, Instagram. And if you're looking for more specific plant recommendations, I'll quick mention I have dozens of blog articles with photo galleries you can browse on my Garden Hike website. Okay, so what I'll be doing here then is I'm going to be going through each of these beds and continuing this theme, so hopefully we can get kind of a consistent feel of the whole area. And I don't think I had mentioned it yet, but this whole project is going to take a couple years to complete. And first and foremost, there's a water feature here that hadn't talked about it, but it'll be installed up in this area, and then the construction and planting of the beds that I've been sketching will begin. Trees and shrubs will be the first plants that get installed, as well as a majority of the rock. And then into the second season, there's plans to have hundreds of perennials and flowering annuals added throughout the various mulch beds, and then the seeding of the turf grass areas. So there's plenty left to do, but for this video, I just wanted to share with you how I initially get started planting garden beds. So if I continue to be involved in this project, I'll do my best to get you some updates as the project moves along. That's it for now. Thanks for stopping by Garden Hike. We'll see you again next video.